dust of the veldt where the wind does moan. We've carved out a life in the soil and stone. They call us names, but we stand up tall. For faith and family, we've weathered it all. Raise the flag high, let the colors fly. With our hands we've built under God's own sky. No insult can break what's forged in our soul. Africa in her heart, steadfast and whole. They say we're dogs, they say we're small, but we've built empires and answered the call. With the earth in our palms and the sun on our backs, we march to the rhythm of unbroken tracks. Through the storms and strife we hold the line. The roots run deep like the old oak spine. Pride in our spirit, love in our veins. The faith of our fathers forever remains. Raise the flag high, let the colors fly. With our hands we've built under God's own sky. No insult can break what's forged in our soul. Africa in her heart, steadfast and whole. Through the years and miles we've walked this road, bearing the burdens, carrying the load. But the light of our fire, it will never fade. For the strength of our people will never be swayed.
Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Hey folks, welcome back to the program. It's Saturday, October 18th, 2025. The days just keep clicking on by, 25. We had two games this morning on Rugby Sunday. The first one was the Lions. Very boring first half, but it became an interesting game late, and the Lions won a game. Congratulations to them. They climb out of the basement, move up to 12th in the standings out of the teams in URC. Then we watched the Springbok-laden Sharks put on a turgid performance. Although the game got interesting late, they wound up losing that game to Ulster. Congratulations to Ulster. Ulster will move up the standings in the URC, and they're doing quite well at this stage. Let's see where they find themselves now. Ulster is in second place with 15 points after 3 games. Of course, they had a game whitewashed because of a storm the first week, so they'll be behind for a bit on games. So that's the best they could perform. They have plus 50-point differential, so it's going to be up to the Stormers to perform well here in a couple of hours to win their 4th game and get hopefully a bonus point victory, take them 19 points. But a victory period would take them to 18 and put them in first place, sole possession of first place. Ulster at some point can win that other game and get a bonus point and then move ahead of the Stormers. So Stormers have moved down to 3rd place pending their game later on. Munster's in 4th place. The Bulls, after winning yesterday, miracle win, 28-27, are now in 5th place with 14 points. And that's the look at the rugby for this weekend. Still got one game coming up. Hope you can join me on Rugby Senate. I hope you're all having a good Saturday. My Saturday was going okay, but it's all gone very much sideways. Sorry, I don't mean to share grim news with you, but horrible people that are just very disrespectful of veterans and work at a veterans organization, which is all the more shameful. I went and rushed. I had 20 minutes to leave here, start my car, drive safely to a nearby shopping center to purchase candy to hand out, to toss to children tonight during a parade, because no one donated the candy. Apparently have 2 bags of candy, but 2 bags of candy will last all of about 5 minutes on this parade. So we need a lot more candy. So I went and bought 42 bags of candy. I bought that, brought it back here, did that for the Veterans Organization for tonight and for the community. And then did my broadcast, only be interrupted by a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. I took the phone call, and it was, if you were watching the rugby broadcast with the Sharks, you would have seen it at the end. I said, hold on, and I took the call, and then I said, I'll have to call you back. And then I ended my broadcast, and I talked to him. And what it was is I got a phone call because someone took action, which I won't go into. I'll talk about it later on, but took action and basically now has made my life a living hell because of their misbehaving and their failure to perform their job. And now they're making allegations about organization. And so now I have to deal with that. And that's just pushed everything out the window. I was on the verge of volunteering to spend $1,500 to buy a cooler because the cooler broke for the organization. That's not going to happen now. I'm not buying a cooler for $1,500. Not buying it. Not buying it. And I regret spending the money. Well, I don't regret spending money because it'll be for the kids tonight to pray. But I mean, I've had enough of useless people, useless, dishonest, disrespectful, immoral people. It's a good thing I'm not on a range and I don't have firearms right now. I'll just leave it. There are no firearms within reach of me because I will tell you what, I'm spitting bullets right now. I am so sick of useless people. And you know, usually I just have to deal with trolls on YouTube or people who slander me on YouTube. But this is here. This is in the community. And these people, I tell you folks, it's my stomach is upset now. I was hungry. I've lost my appetite. I'm not happy. Anyway, I don't know what to say. And I know that this is kind of, not very informative, not really telling you what's going on. But I mean, I've absolutely had enough of these people. Such fools, such total fools. Unbelievable. I went into the Veterans Organization again last night and people were waiting an hour and a half for food again. So I went to the kitchen. I said, what's the problem? Is it a workflow problem? We were slammed. We had so many tickets. So many meals came in. So I went out and talked to people at the bar and asked them, what's going on? I don't have time for WhatsApp right now, guys. I don't have time. I'm in the middle of a crisis here that has to be dealt with. I went in and I talked to a couple of people that I know, one of whom supports the Post very heavily. And I said, did you guys eat tonight? And we did. How long did you wait? 1 hour and 18 minutes. An hour and 18 minutes. Well, when did you arrive? 4:45. At 4:45, folks, there's no one ordering food. Certainly not a slam, not getting slammed. Thank you, Erica. Total thanks to you and your veterans for your sacrifices. You're welcome, Erica. It's kind of you. Thank you for the super chat, the 70 Rand. But at 4:45, there's maybe one ticket back there. It shouldn't take an hour and 18 minutes to get. Somebody is screwed up. It's watching Everyday Believe with everything that we see, we'll see. Well, okay. Well, congratulations, Ave. I hope things are going well for you. No wonder it's difficult getting volunteers. You're right, Sloth Puppy. It's difficult getting volunteers because of this stupidity. I mean, I could go on for hours about this, but it's just I'm so incensed right now, folks. It's a question of bothering me. Of course, it's going to bother me because it's just morally wrong. People have no morals. I mean, the audacity. The problem is that the persons who started this thing are so in the wrong, and they have so much documentation to prove that they're in the wrong that they're going to be very embarrassed when this is all over. Very embarrassed when this is all over. But that's going to involve a lot of rectal bleeding between now and several times, and I don't have time for it. I mean, I work during the week. I'm gone all week next week. I don't have time for this. No, it's not worth it. No, it's not worth it because the veterans have voted with their absence. The veterans don't care. Their survivors don't care because they're not participating. Got 350 members who are veterans, got 500 auxiliary members, and got over 1,000 other sorts of members. And the veterans are voting with their absence. If they don't participate, So the way this is going, this organization will be shut down after 80 years. after 80 years. Yeah, some people just know how to weaponize incompetence. You're right about that. It's not just incompetence. It's incompetence. It's maliciousness. It's immorality. It's a whole list of things. A whole list of things. A whole list of things. Unbelievable. It's and the problem is I don't have time to deal with it. I need to deal with it right now. Right now. But I can't. It's a Saturday, and by the time Monday, I won't be able to deal with it. So this is, you're right, Garrett. I'm way too generous with everybody. It's just, anyway, it's. It just amazes me. I go into the place and in 5 minutes discover problems and tell people how to fix them. Hey, Robert, what's going on? Oh, don't worry, Robert. I will stand my ground, and the people who have initiated this will regret that they did it. Now, that's not a retaliation for me. They'll regret it because they are going to be embarrassed and find themselves in deep trouble for the nuisance they're causing to people. Hey, Anna, thank you for the 70 Rand super chat. Brendan Boatma is here. Welcome to you. Shirley Dewhurst. Play the bunny song. Yeah, I am exhausted. I'm exhausted of nonsense. I'm tired of it. Neil Koglenberg. Thank you for your membership. Yeah, play Bob. I'll tell you what. If you guys tolerate me, if you bear with me, and we don't go from 374 viewers to 320 because I'm playing a song, I will play a song and get myself back in a light mood, okay? I'll play a song and put myself back in a light mood. Is that okay? And then we can get on with the news. Is that okay with you guys? All right. Is everybody going to disappear on me? We just gained 378. I'm going to play a song, and I'm going to caterwaul over it because I enjoy it just to get myself back in a good mood, okay? All right, so don't run off. And, you know, if I scare the cats in your house, I'm sorry. I'll apologize in advance. But we all need something every now and then. And I need a song right now. Thank gosh for this AI. This AI is awesome, man. So, yeah, I'm going to play a song that gets me in the mood. And I think some of you know what that song is. I think some of you will know, okay? So let me go to my library, okay? It's going to take a moment to cycle through this thing. Okay, there we go. I don't want that one. That one I don't want. I mean, that not the Keep Smiling song. If you think it's Keep Smiling song, you're mistaken. It's not the Keep Smiling song. This is the song that I always get excited about. I love this song. And you've seen me, and it's not Sweeney's Jeans. I know some of you think it's Sweeney's Jeans. It's not Sweeney's Jeans, folks. It's a different one. So hang on. Come on. I got so many damn songs here. Over 100 songs. I got to cycle through it. Is it further back than that? Really? It can't be that far back, can it? There it is. Is that it? There it is. What's going on? It's not loading properly. Why is the image is missing? All right, folks. Here it is. You ready for this? All right, here we go. This will get me in a good mood. All right? Don't disappear, 383 people. Here we go. Here we go.
The water's rising slow and hot. The frog's still dreaming in the pot. Steam whispers secrets to the air. Do you jump or do you dare? Tick tock, the heat won't stop. The lid shakes like it's gonna pop. The pot falls over again. Pressure mountain, no way to pretend you can stay or leap. Take your shot, 'cause the pot boils over, like it or not. Cyril's cards fell just as planned. He dealt the aces, played his hand, but the crowd's awake. Their voices loud, a restless wave, a roaring growl. Tick-tock, the time runs thin. Boiling point, it's sink or swim. The pot boils over again. Pressure rising, no way to pretend you can stay or leap. Take your shot, 'cause the pot boils over, like it or not. Pot boils over.
Pot boils over. Pot boils over. Pot boils over again. Pressurized and no way to pretend you can stay or leap. Take your shot, 'cause the pot boils over, like it or not. Pot boils over. Oh yeah, the pot boils over. DJ Silver Eagle. All right, folks, I'm back in a better mood now. Just takes a little music to get us out of our funk, doesn't it? Yeah, get us out of our funk. 5 minutes of funk. This ain't no junk. Get your bottom off a tree stump. Ladies real pretty, city to city. Well, now we get down to the nitty gritty. From the bottom to the top to the bottom. Gonna rock 'em while we got 'em. 4 minutes left. Oh, my goodness. Oh, I'm back. All right, folks. Out of the funk. Thank you for your indulgence. And we only lost 10 people, so. Vera Durant, super music. Thank you for that. Sorry for the caterwauling. I can't sing. That's the way that God made me. I can't help that. But it doesn't mean I don't love music. Thank you all. All right. Guys, let's get to the news then. Just made 60 pounds of biltong. Ooh, that's crazy, Joe Smith. That's a lot. Hey, Xavier, what's going on? All right, let's get to it. Thank you all for the super chats coming in. There's some news we need to talk about here in this hour. Senzo Mkunu. That's the dude. Yep. The police minister suspended says, I briefed the president. Oh, it's getting uglier, folks. It's getting uglier. This whole Ananda Mkwanazi allegation, this corruption scandal potentially with the South African police service, it is out of control. I'll tell you what, the world ought to be paying attention to what's happening in South Africa because it is not pretty. It is not pretty. I briefed the president. Ramaphosa agreed to the task team disbandment, says Mkunu. Wow. Suspended police minister Senzo Mkunu claims that President Cyril Ramaphosa agreed that the political killings task team should be disbanded. While he does not recall the duration of his January discussion with Ramaphosa, he said it was clear the president agreed to disbandment. I briefed the president and he agreed, yes. He told members of parliament on Friday. This came after he issued a directive, that it be disbanded in December. My goodness. This does not seem like a scenario where the president could have agreed, says RNC. Well, EFF leader Julius Malema called on Mkunu to make it simple. Did the president agree to disbandment? He agreed with the briefing I gave him. He agreed with the decision. RNC asked Mkunu whether he gave Ramaphosa reasons for wanting to disband. You didn't provide him with reasons X, Y, and Z. Why are you disestablishing the team? You didn't furnish him with any reports or anything like that. No, I wasn't going to include a discussion. It was just a briefing. I asked for a slot to give him a briefing. Wow. Senzo Mkunu is trying to cover his backside. Did Cyril know? Probably. The noose is tightening around Ramaphosa. Yeah, well, it's tightening around a lot of people, folks. A lot of folks. He also claimed he didn't know that other guy, and there's video and photo of him. No, I've never met the guy. I don't know him. And there's video of you hanging out, sitting on the steps with him. Yep. I don't have a voice, Robin. I don't have a voice. Noose is tightening. Mehmet Vega Dag. This guy. Man, this guy is something else. Slapped with interdict over Mackenzie and Kunene statements. Mehmet Vega Dag has been interdicted from making defamatory allegations against Gate McKenzie and Kenny Kunene. That's not exactly news. He was barred from making allegations implicating McKenzie and Kunene in murders or labeling them as gang or mafia members. They have 20 days to initiate a defamation suit. That's all? Why can't they just do it at any time? I mean, there should be a statute of limitations, but not 20 days. Vefa Dag and founder of the Kase Broadcasting Corporation, Shannon Merricks, are accused of repeatedly linking Mackenzie and Cunady to the 2022 murder of Roy Forbay, branding them formal criminal suspects who are improperly evading justice. Wow. In the order issued on Friday, he is explicitly restrained from making any allegations or statements that Mackenzie or Cunady caused, commissioned, or orchestrated the murders of Forbay, Farouk Mayer, or the investigator in the Mayer case. News 24 previously reported the interdict application was pending a defamation lawsuit. Mackenzie also administers sports in Canadian City of Joburg's MMC for transport. Intended to file. In terms of Friday's order, they must initiate formal legal procedures with regard to the 20 days or the interdict will fall away. Wow. So the court can just tell the guy quit saying things. I guess because it's defamation. That's crazy. Crazy. Well, a manhunt is underway in Felipe East for the murders of seven men gunned down in Felipe East. A manhunt is underway for the killers of 7 men who were gunned down on Friday night in Felipe East, Cape Town. The victims were between 20 and 30 years old. Detectives attached to the Provincial Serious and Violent Crimes Unit have been assigned to the case and are pursuing every available lead to identify and apprehend those responsible for this brutal attack. So we have another mass shooting in South Africa. South Africans always fond of talking about American mass shootings. Here's yet another mass shooting, 7 men dead in the Cape Flats. Wow. Anyone who witnessed the incident has information can assist the police should you take such a risk. You're urged to call Crime Stop at 08600 10111 or MySAP's mobile application. Wow. 08600 10111. Crime Stop. Well, another international company has been hit with sanctions from South Africa. The South African Reserve Bank has hit Access Forex with administrative sanctions for failure to abide by the Financial Intelligence Center Act, the FIC Act. The SARB has imposed administrative sanctions on Zimbabwe-based Access Forex. Based in Harare, Access Forex deals with the movement of money from South Africa, the UK, and Zimbabwe. Well, they're in trouble for violating some rule. The following administrative sanctions: a financial penalty of 100,000 Rand for failure to comply with provisions of Section 42, financial penalty 37,500 for failure to comply with provisions of Section 20, and a financial penalty of 25,000 for failure to comply with provisions of Section 43 of the FIC Act. Sanctions have become common in South Africa over the last year. Yeah, well, because they're trying to comply with the Financial Action Task Force. They're in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. Oh, my goodness. Undercover refugee. Who's the undercover refugee? Krista says, we'd like seeing you so upset, Colonel. Anything we do to help. Well, Krista, thank you. Actually, I'm far more upset than you saw. I mask 90% of my anger. I am spitting bullets mad. That's how mad I am. Spitting nails. Yeah, I'm incredibly angry and upset. I really am, and it's not at the YouTube community. This is locally. This is scumbags locally in their conduct. It's reprehensible. This is not how you behave. I'm a soldier. Our word is our bond. Our reputation and our honor is what matter to us, and doing the right thing, doing what's right, moral, and just all the time. I just cannot stomach people's behavior. You know, I get a little concerned if like I think I've sped and a cop is going to pull me over. You know. There are rules, and rules exist for a reason. Otherwise, we have chaos. And there are common sense things, and there are responsibilities. Anyway, finance me. How are you going to finance me? For what, Philip? Thank you. So, yeah, that's what's going on there. Well, Fikile Mbalula is striking out at the South African Communist Party. Ladies and gentlemen, the tripartite alliance is over. For all practical terms and purposes, it's over. Now, it may be resurrected at some point by South Africans who desire to herald back or hearken back to the salad days of the tripartite alliance between COSATU, the South African Communist Party, and the ANC. But it's over. It was frayed beyond repair by Zuma and briefly in a pretend resurrection, but it's gone. Fikile Mbalula is consistently, and look, I have no problem with that. I think the tripartite alliance is evil. Evil, evil, evil. It's a coalition of people who are destroying South Africa, many of them, not all. And if it falls apart, I don't lose any sleep. But Fikile Mbalula is putting the nail in that right now. He is putting the nail in that right now. The South African Communist Party never brought numbers to the ANC. Mabalula slams decision to contest elections. See, here's the problem, Fikile. You're not a very bright individual. The South African Communist Party never had more than 50,000 members. So obviously it didn't have an impact on election. But that's not why the South African Communist Party mattered to the ANC. Every senior member of the ANC was a card-carrying member of the Communist Party. And 60 to 70% of them believed in that garbage. So it provided the ideological basis for the ANC. Without that, the only ideological basis the ANC has is theft, kleptocracy. So you really, really, really do not get it. 1,300 kilometers, man, Max. That's a long way. You really don't get it, man. You really don't get it. ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula has hit back at the South African Communist Party's decision to contest the 2026 local government elections independently, saying the move does not shake the ANC as ASAPC never brought numbers to the party. Well, that's not going to make them happy. We are seeing unity of purpose here in Mpumalanga. He said the ANC's National Executive Committee saw in Mpumalanga province determined to make the ANC live and lead. Turning to the SACP, Mbalula criticized the decision to contest the upcoming elections independently. Comrades of the Communist Party, I'm going to talk about it. You are the ANC. You are different. You must be organized, show discipline, and demonstrate that you understand your politics. Fikile Mbalula. This guy is not very bright. Not very bright. Well, folks are trying to get a social media ban in South Africa for teenagers. I mean, people are hungry. No one has jobs. Electricity sucks. The roads are falling apart. Gender-based violence, home invasions, farm murders, shootings in shebeens, and they're worried about this, as if you're living in a normal society. Digital law expert Emma Sadlier noted that banning teens from social media is possible in South Africa, with her company busy drafting a bill, but admits that enforcement will be the biggest challenge. Australia is banning under 16s from social media from December. Sadler, founder of the digital law company, explained that they introduced the law at the end of last year with an effective date of 10 December this year to give tech companies a year to figure out how they'll comply. She believes the law is legally sound, but admits that it will be hard to implement. The idea that an age of internet adulthood should start at 13 is mad. Anyone with a 13-year-old knows at that age should be kept off social media, not on it. Well, yeah, but that's the role of parents, not the state. Criminalizing acts that are not harmful. They're harmful to the individual. But that's the responsibility of parents. You're stealing parenting from the parents. If the parents are negligent, that's not the role of the state to step in. Well, Paul O'Sullivan is swinging back. People ask me to talk about Paul O'Sullivan. Well, we're doing it. A 10 million rand countersuit against Mkhwanazi. KwaZulu-Natal's top cop, General Nandla Mkhwanazi, filed a 5 million defamation suit against Paul O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan's countersuit alleges that Mkhwanazi is in fact defamed him. He also denied making defamatory statements, asserting his intent was to expose corruption. Forensic investigator Paul Sullivan has launched a 10 million rand counterclaim against KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nanda Mkhwanazi in a heated high court showdown. O'Sullivan accused Mkhwanazi of defaming him at the Commission of Inquiry. Well, yep, there you go, folks. So it's getting messy in South Africa. Madagascar's coup leader is now sworn in as president illegitimately in that island nation. An army colonel who seized power in a military coup was sworn in as Madagascar's new leader Friday in a lightning-fast power grab that ousted the president and sent him fleeing from the country into hiding. Colonel Michael Randriarina is commander of an elite army unit that took the oath of office to become the new president at a ceremony in the main chamber of the nation's high constitutional court in front of its 9 red-robed judges. His ascent to the presidency came 3 days after he announced that the armed forces were taking power in the sprawling Indian Ocean island country of 30 million people. UN has condemned the military takeover as unconstitutional change, but will do nothing about it. The African Union is condemned, but will do nothing about it, except suspend them. Whoop-de-doo. He is 50 or 51 years old, swapped his military camouflage for a dark suit and blue tie for the swearing-in. The colonel emerged from relative obscurity to lead the rebellion by the CAPSAT military unit less than a week ago. He was briefly imprisoned 2 years ago for an attempted mutiny. He said he spent most of the 3 months he was detained late 2023 and 24 at a military hospital. Of course, Madagascar has high rates of poverty. 75% of the population lives in poverty. And it's been independent since 1960 or thereabout. How's that independence going for you? How's that indigenous leadership going for you, Madagascar? Chinese Communist Party has expelled 9 senior military officers linked to Xi ahead of key meeting. He Weidong is the most prominent military figure brought down in the CCP's decade-long campaign against alleged corruption and disloyalty. In a dramatic move, yesterday, the Chinese Communist Party expelled 9 high-ranking military leaders and handed them over for investigations on accusations related to corruption and abuse of power, including a top general considered to be a close ally of party chief Xi Jinping. He Weidong is a member of the Politburo and a vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, which exercises the Chinese Communist Party's control over the armed forces. He was stripped of his party membership and taken down to the People's Liberation Army, according to a spokesperson. The announcement makes he the most prominent military figure brought down in the CCP's decade-long campaign against so-called corruption. Launched by Xi shortly after he took power in 2012, the anti-graft campaign initially targeted officers loyal to factions opposing his rule. The latest purges, however, have increasingly targeted protégés and longtime associates, sparking speculation about power struggles behind the scenes. Aside from he, another general close to Xi, Miao Hua, was expelled from the military, and according to the Defense Ministry, he had overseen the People's Liberation Army political loyalty until his abrupt suspension in November of last year, when Beijing placed him under investigation for suspected corruption. He lost his position in June. Wow, this is getting crazy. Xi is under pressure. A conclave will be taking place in Beijing. The closed-door meeting focus will be on the 15th five-year plan. The conclave, known as the Fourth Plenum, will be closely watched by political analysts who are monitoring any signs of political power transfer. Is Xi Jinping in jeopardy in communist China? Sounds like he might be. Hungary will ensure that Vladimir Putin is safe when he comes to that Central European country, despite an international criminal court arrest warrant for him. The leaders of Russia and the United States are set to meet in Budapest on an as-yet undisclosed date for negotiations to bring an end to the war in Ukraine. Hungary will ensure that President Putin can enter and leave the country for a summit with U.S. President Trump planned in Budapest despite his outstanding International Criminal Court arrest warrant. We will ensure that he enters Hungary, has successful negotiations, and then returns home. Wow, there's no need for consultation with anyone. We're a sovereign country. Hungary is a member of the ICC, but in the midst of a year-long process of withdrawing from that organization, its parliament approved a bill to leave on May 20th, which held that the court had become politicized. And it has become politicized. So Hungary's leaving the ICC, so they're going to ignore that ruling. Prince Andrew has been stripped of his title. Yep, Prince agrees to forego the use of the title after pressure from Buckingham Palace. Prince Andrew agreed to stop using the title Duke of York and has been banned from attending British royal family Christmas gatherings as Buckingham Palace continues to distance itself from the royal over his past friendship with convicted sex offender and financier Jeffrey Epstein. The demotion comes after pressure from King Charles III to put further space between the royal family and his younger brother as British media headlines continue to be dominated by tales of Andrew's alleged abuse of one of Epstein's victims, Virginia Giuffre. Andrew denies he abused her, and she died by self-harm this year, and previously settled a claim with her out of court without admitting guilt. In discussion with the king and my immediate and wider family, we have concluded the continued accusations about me distract from the work of His Majesty and the royal family. He vigorously denies the allegations against him. The 65-year-old has been in the headlines after Britain's domestic intelligence agency, MI5, alleged the Chinese state had previously deployed a businessman to try to buy influence over the prince. It's not going well. A book written by the victim about her life being serialized in the British press offers a detailed account of her alleged interactions with the prince. She alleged she was forced to have sex with the British royal in the early 2000s when she was 17 after being introduced to him by Epstein. Andrew tried to clear his name with a 2019 interview with the BBC, which backfired. The prince said during the interview with the BBC that he regretted staying at Epstein's New York house in 2010 following Epstein's release from prison after a sexual assault conviction. The prince explained he was doing the honorable thing by telling Epstein in person that he was ending their relationship. He said that he had no recollection of ever meeting that woman or dancing with her in a London nightclub. He added that an account she gave of him sweating in a nightclub couldn't be accurate because at the time he had a medical condition that meant he couldn't sweat. He since has rarely appeared in public except with his mother's funeral in 2022. Well, that's not good. British royals, clean the house, clean the house. The decision to bar Israeli soccer fans at a UK match sparks an outcry. Fans of Maccabi Tel Aviv told not to attend the Aston Villa game following concerns about violence. Fans of Israeli soccer club Maccabi Tel Aviv have been told they are not welcome to travel to Birmingham for a Europa League match with Aston Villa next month because of safety concerns. The decision has sparked a government outcry and accusations of anti-Semitism. Birmingham City Council made the decision on advice from local police, who said they were concerned about threats had been made ahead of the match, raising anti-Semitic fears of violence against Jews. According to 21 census, around 30% of Birmingham's population is Muslim, and the city held some of its largest pro-Palestinian demonstrations during the war. So the United Kingdom has surrendered to the Islamists, and they are refusing to uphold the rule of law and discriminate against Jews because they're overwhelmingly Muslim. This is cowardice. You track down the threats, you investigate, you arrest, you prosecute, you convict the people responsible. In the meantime, you plan for a security presence at the event. You don't tell people they can't come to a sporting event. I mean, I wouldn't go. It's, after all, soccer. Soccer. Who would want to go to a soccer game? Ugh. Boring. Boring, 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 boring. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer condemned the decision to block the fans from attending. The government said it was working with local police to overturn the ban. How could they ban people based on being a supporter of a team? What kind is that? So the fans of Maccabi Tel Aviv have committed no offense. They've not demonstrated. They've not destroyed anything. They've not caused any problems. They're simply fans of another soccer team. And Aston Villa is going to ban them? I think Aston Villa should be banned from ever hosting a future Rugby World Cup match ever again. Men or women. Never again. Don't let them ever do it again. If this is their attitude. West Midlands police say the decision is based on current intelligence of previous incidents, which included violent clashes that occurred during Europa League match between Ajax and Maccabi Tel Aviv in Amsterdam last year, which resulted in a 6-day arrest. So fans that support that team are going to be punished because something that happened in Europe? I thought this was the United Kingdom, not Europe. Wow. You are correct, Marissa. They insult Christianity by dropping down on the grounds of the Anglican Church and holding prayers. And Christians can't speak in Hyde Park about their faith. They get arrested because the Muslims are offended by Christianity. Well, if you're offended by Christianity, then you're a scumbag. I'm not offended by Islam. I'm offended by scumbags like that. Unbelievable. Jewish Leadership Council, which works to protect British Jews, said in a statement it was perverse that fans visiting UK were banned because the police couldn't guarantee their safety. Then why do you have police? British lawmaker Ayun Khan, who won his parliamentary seat for Birmingham in last year's election on a pro-Palestinian platform, launched a petition to ban the fans from coming to the game. Well, I think that British lawmaker Ayun Khan should be removed from Parliament for bigotry and racism and anti-Semitism. How you like them apples? He pointed to alleged chants of vile hatred and racism by the Israeli team's fans before their game in Amsterdam. So if I support Maccabi Tel Aviv, you're going to ban me? I wasn't in Amsterdam. Ayun Khan should be removed from Parliament. There's no space for this kind of behavior in Birmingham. So your response is suppression of freedom. Mr. Khan, where are you from? Birmingham? Were you born there? Where are your parents from? What fucked up country did they escape from? The United States has got custody of people who survived the last attack on one of the so-called narco boats. U.S. is holding survivors of the latest strike against alleged drug boat. Strike is the sixth against suspected drug vessel in the Caribbean amid buildup of U.S. military in the region. U.S. is providing medical treatment to survivors of the latest attack on a vessel suspected of transporting illegal drugs in the Caribbean. The two survivors were rescued by the Coast Guard and taken to the USS Iwo Jima, which has full medical staff. That is a aircraft carrier. So we have a carrier strike group in the Caribbean. Wow. An unspecified number of others are aboard the submersible were killed in the strike. So it was a sub. President Trump said the attack targeted a drug-carrying, loaded-up submarine built to transport large quantities of narcotics. This is not an innocent group of people. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the strike was part of a continuing operation against so-called narco-terrorists. Well, there you go. Don't mess with Trump, man. Don't mess with Trump. President Trump has imposed a 25% tariff on imports of medium and heavy-duty trucks that begins on November 1st. Ouch. proclamation imposed a 10% import duty on buses as well. Our great large truck company manufacturers such as Peterbilt, Kenworth, Freightliner, Mack Trucks, and others will be protected from the onslaught of outside interruptions. We need our truckers to be financially healthy and strong for many reasons, but above all for national security purposes. Trump's proclamation aims to encourage domestic production of medium and heavy-duty trucks by offsetting the portion of tariffs on truck parts equal to 3.75% of the total value of all such trucks assembled in the United States between 2025 and 2030. Wow. In a time of crisis, America, we need adequate, reliable domestic manufacturing capacity for medium and heavy-duty trucks, medium and heavy-duty truck parts, and buses. Only factories here on American soil, subject to American law, can provide that kind of reliable capacity. Well, people are saying that Trump is easing up on tariffs, but that isn't a case of easing up. President Trump has commuted the sentence of George Santos, the disgraced Republican congressman from New York, who was in federal prison. He'd been sentenced to prison after his web of deceit. He is expected to be out of prison on Friday. President Trump on Friday commuted the sentence of former Representative George Santos of New York, the disgraced Republican fabulist, whose lies made him an object of national scorn, whose fraud landed him a punishment of more than 7 years in prison. Trump suggests that politics have been a major factor in his decision, commending Mr. Santos for sharing his views and contrasting him with Democrats, calling the former congressman somewhat of a rogue. Trump said that he believed Mr. Santos' sentence was excessive given the nature of his financial crimes. The president also suggests he'd been moved by Santos' accounts of being in prison, which he published in a regular column in a Long Island newspaper. He's been in solitary confinement for a long stretch of time. By all accounts, he's been horribly mistreated. Why is a person accused of white-collar crime put in solitary confinement? He's not a violent criminal, not a rapist, a murderer, a pedo. Why is he in solitary confinement? George has been in solitary confinement for a long time and by all accounts been horribly mistreated. Therefore, I just signed a commutation releasing George Santos from prison immediately. Good luck, George. Have a great life. The 37-year-old reported to prison in July after pleading guilty to wire fraud and aggravated identity theft. He will serve fewer than 3 months of an 87-month sentence. No longer be required to pay more than $370,000 in court-order restitution to his victims. Does not wipe out his conviction. He's still a convicted criminal. Yep. When he won a seat in 2022, Mr. Santos was heralded as a sign of a shift in Republican politics. Young, Brazilian-American, and openly gay, Mr. Santos seemed to signal expansion of the GOP's tent. His victory in Democratic-leaning District of Long Island was celebrated for helping Republicans narrowly win control of the House. But his career was over almost before it started, as a web of lies was uncovered. He claimed to be a college volleyball star, and he boasted extensive Wall Street experience, allowed him to report loaning his campaign hundreds of thousands of dollars, but none of it was true. He also said he'd been in the World Trade Center on September 11th. Why do people lie about things like this? Why do they lie? Trump says he would rather end the war than give Ukraine tomahawks. Well, so much for Zelensky's grifting trip coming to America. White House meeting with Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky comes a day after he discussed peace plans with Vladimir Putin. President Trump said he hoped Ukraine wouldn't need the U.S. to provide it with long-range Tomahawk missiles as he met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky yesterday. We're going to be talking about Tomahawks and would much rather have them not need Tomahawks. Well, he didn't give him the Tomahawks. So much for that. So much for that. Who lives in Canada? I don't know what that is all about. All right. Wikipedia volunteers stop a unaliving. Yes. Wikipedia volunteers avert tragedy by taking down gunman at conference. After the man walked on the stage of the Wiki World Fair event and threatened to off himself, witnesses said 2 members of the audience jumped in to stop him. The armed man came striding up to the aisle to the conference for Wikipedia editors on Friday morning in Manhattan. I'm sorry, I've been a Wikipedia editor since like 2 months after Jimmy Wales started this outfit. I didn't receive any invitation to an editor's conference. I didn't even know there was one. Why? Because I'm not leftist. Huskies going in the background. Audience of well over 100 people panicked. A man draped in multicolored flag walked on the stage, stood next to Mariana Issachander, the chief of the nonprofit group that runs Wikipedia, interrupted her speech, announced he was going to off himself, held a gun near his head, and pointed it toward the ceiling. Wow. A man in an orange jumpsuit rushed the stage. He was not in law enforcement, but a Wikipedia contributor on the conference's trust and safety Richard Kimmel, City of University of New York's Wikipedia residence. He grabbed the gunman from behind. Another Wikipedian on the Trust and Safety team, Andrew Lee, had been standing watching the aisle and charged for it too. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. People just acting foolish all over the world. Well, Vermont legislators resigned over purported racist WhatsApp posts. I think they're WhatsApp or text. GOP officials who participated in a group that have faced calls for step down. State Senator Samuel Douglas was the group's only elected member, Vermont legislator. A Vermont Republican legislator who faced bipartisan condemnation after participating in a long-running group chat that was peppered with racist and anti-Semitic language announced on Friday he would resign. See, folks, that's why my moderators remove things like that from my chat, because I'm not saying it. I don't support garbage like that, but people come in here and say stupid stuff in my chat. If it sits there, then someone will make an allegation. They'll print the stuff out. They'll share it and say, see, and then demand, no. So I don't know what this guy said or did, but is he guilty by association? Apparently. State Senator Samuel Douglas, 26 years old, was one of 26. He's a state senator. Was one of a dozen young Republican Party activists from around the country who participated in the texts, which were first reported on Tuesday by Politico. And while some participants work for Republican lawmakers held government posts, he's the only elected official. I know the decision will upset many and delight others, but in this political climate, I must keep my family safe, he said, and submitted his resignation effective noon Monday. Offense was taken, people were hurt, and I will mend bridges to the best of my ability. Since the story broke, I've reached out to a majority of my Jewish and BIPOC friends and colleagues to ensure that they can be honest and upfront with me, and I know that as a young person, I have a duty to set a good example for others. He used the acronym for Black, Indigenous, and People of Color, which is just garbage. Governor Phil Scott, a Republican, is now expected to appoint a replacement, presumably a Republican, to serve out the rest of his term through the end of 2026. Democrats do control the House and Senate, but Democrats lost seats in Vermont. But more Democrats in Vermont lost seats than in any other state in 2024, in large part because of concerns over affordability. The exchanges amount to 2,900 pages sent over Telegram over 7 months, skewing racist and homophobic language and glibly invoking Hitler and the Holocaust. Chief of Staff of New York Assemblyman, who has since been fired, posted, "I love Hitler." At another point, he was asked if he was watching an NBA game. He responded, "I go to the zoo." Oh, my goodness. The vice chairman of Kansas Young Republicans, a group which had been disbanded by the state, used racial slurs against black people. Bro is at a chicken restaurant ordering his food. Would he like some? Oh, my goodness. Many state Republicans condemned the text, which occurred between January and August, but some national Republicans were dismissive. J.D. Vance said that critics should focus on real issues and grow up. Well, all right. And he's come under assault by Tom Eaton, who wrote an op-ed about J.D. Vance. Alaska's governor says that the damage is grave. The storm recovery could keep evacuees away for 18 months after the typhoon devastated villages in western Alaska. Look at that house flipped over on its roof. My goodness. Typhoon Halong hit the western part of the state. Flooding from the typhoon overwhelmed western Alaska and particular communities on the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta with a strength of Category 2 hurricane October 11th and 12th. In some spots, water levels rose as high as 7 feet above normal, wiping out homes and leading to the evacuation of more than 2,000 people. My goodness. Well, tough break there in Alaska. Hope those people are doing well. Be sure to hit the like button, folks. For those of you still here, we have 382. We didn't really go above. Well, we did go above that briefly. I guess until I started playing music at 4:45. No, that was 1 o'clock. Oh, people went to watch something else. People went to watch something else. They betrayed the channel, went elsewhere. That's their prerogative. You can, if you're lucky enough to only afford chicken and pork. What's that? That's an awesome price. The farmers in town charge more than the butchers. Did you see the White House and all government ex-accounts joined trolling the Democrat-leaning ex-alternative site Blue Sky? It's hilarious. No, I didn't see it. No, I haven't seen it. Trump wears a crown. That's funny. Yeah, so that's what's supposedly happening today. I haven't checked news for today on that issue. Let me just go to news and see if they've got their all Kings nonsense. No Kings protests kicks off across the country with National Guard on standby. Demonstrators gather in the U.S. for No Kings protests 40 minutes ago. What to know about the No Kings rally? Well, they're welcome to rally all they want. Activists and advocacy groups are staging a second round of No Kings protests across the country today in response to what they call the abuse of power of President Trump and his administration, including his immigration crackdown, all within the law, and his sending troops into American cities, all under the Constitution. Organizers predict millions will participate. Well, we have a lot of stupid people in America, so I wouldn't be surprised. Republicans are trying to brand the protests as Hate America rallies, because they are, and claim they're prolonging the federal government shutdown. Here's what to know. What are No Kings protests? The day-long No Kings protests set for October 18th follow up the one on the thousands held mid-June. They are being run by coalition organizations including the American Criminal Liberties Union, Indivisible, 50501, and others. Organizers say there are more than 2,600 events planned nationwide, including major cities such as New York, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Los Angeles, and they claim that millions are expected to attend. They've been organized by regular people, by volunteers. Yeah, and how much money has George Soros provided? While organizers have not released details on fundraising ahead of the protests, the coalition has remained relatively decentralized. A few groups have indicated either heavy spending to promote rallies or planned star power to increase buzz around them. And so they pretend to be Americans, like this photograph right here. This must have been from, I guess this is already happening in New York. So this is the protest. And so they pretend to be patriotic, but this is what they do. This is what they do. This isn't patriotic. This is defaming the flag. Look how they put No Kings. They paint No Kings on the American flag. No, that's not patriotic. That's a scumbag that does that. That's what a scumbag does. Yep. Celebrities including Jane Fonda, Kerry Washington, John Legend, Alan Cumming, and John Leguizamo are slated to attend. Those are celebrities? No, Jane Fonda is 1,000 years old. Kerry Washington, she disappeared a long time ago. John Legend, lame music. Alan Cumming, who's Alan Cumming? And John Leguizamo, never been much of anything. We'll be in the streets for immigrant families under attack and for voters who are being silenced. Who's being silenced? What voters being silenced? Nobody's being denied the right to vote. No legal voters being denied the right to vote. So who's being silenced? For communities being terrorized by militarized policing. No. For families who are about to lose their health insurance because of the Democrats. So you're going to protest against Trump because Obama and Pelosi passed this legislation which set this subsidy to expire this year? So you're gonna march against Donald Trump. Why don't you march against Barack Hussein Obama? That was a monarch. That's a guy who acted as if he was a king, an oligarch. Yeah, but they want to march against Trump. And every single person whose rights are threatened by this administration's cruelty. Oh, we throw a pity party for you. In advance of Saturday's rallies, law enforcement is actively monitoring social media and the internet, as well as working with local organizers and potential counter-protesters. Whatever. Republicans have been slamming the protests, claiming that the protests are the reason the Democratic Party does not want to end the ongoing federal government. So here's the man dressed as President Abraham Lincoln, participating in the No Kings protests. So while I have a great deal of respect for President Lincoln, and he is the first Republican president in the history of the country, he also violated the Constitution by illegitimately suspending habeas corpus and imprisoning his political opponents throughout the Civil War. Not exactly the hallmarks of a Democrat. Walking around proclaiming no kings when that president took arbitrary actions reminiscent of a monarch is kind of ironic. Kind of ironic. But these people are stupid. They don't know history. They don't know history. They don't know history. Senate Majority Leader John Thune asserted on Wednesday that Democrats are waiting to solve the funding issues until after Saturday's No Kings rally. The truth is, what Democrats really want is something Republicans can't give them, and that is the approval of their far-left base. Republican leaders have also framed the No Kings protests as a series of Hate America rallies framed at upcoming events as meant to criticize America and what it stands for. And I encourage you to watch, we call it the Hate America rally, that will happen Saturday, House Speaker Mike Johnson told reporters. Let's see who shows up for that. I bet you see pro-Hamas. I bet you see Antifa. I bet you see Marxists on full display, the people who don't want to stand and defend the foundational truth of this republic. He's right. Johnson did not provide any proof to support his claims. He doesn't have to provide it. It's speculation. ABC News, he doesn't have to provide any proof. It hasn't happened. It's speculation. Stupid people, man. Interview tape of Fox News, Maria Bartiromo on Thursday. Trump was asked about the rallies, and he shot down that he was a king. They're referring to me as a king. I'm not a king. Yep. Texas Governor Greg Abbott wrote on X that he directed the Director of Public Safety and National Guard to surge forces in Austin, which is a leftist hotbed of Texas. Texas will not tolerate chaos. Anyone destroying property or committing acts of violence will be swiftly arrested. Representative Gene Wu, who chairs the state's Democratic caucus, wrote in response, sending armed soldiers to suppress peaceful protests is not is what kings and dictators do. Now, ignoring public safety, which was what Trump did, is reprehensible in the summer of 2020. And allowing people to declare their own independent countries in Seattle is wrong. It's weak. Setting the National Guard in is authorized under law, and that's one of their key functions, is to quell protest. That's one reason why they exist. And Democratic Representative Gene Wu, Mr. Wu in Texas, not exactly a big destination for Asians, but apparently it is now, Mr. Wu, you don't know what you're talking about. And they are not being sent in to quell protest. They're being sent in to deal with the likelihood that's probably going to happen of property destruction. Yep. They're pro-Hamas because they hate America, Conrad. It's as simple as that. They hate white people. They hate Christians. They hate men. And they hate America because they're all losers. They're losers. And losers strike out at the things that are successful and blame the successful people for their failures. That's how it works. Losers. They walk around with a big L on their forehead. Loser. Yep. Stephanopoulos had to pay Trump $16 million. Well, I think his network had to pay him, didn't he? Matthew's bootylicious crush. Yes, expat family Joubert. Jane Fonda is the 1960s treasonous person who should have been cited for treason, going to North Korea, giving aid and comfort to the enemy. That's treason. She was never charged with a crime. Protesting about someone calling him a king while he never claimed that title for himself. 2-watt light bulb crowd. Indeed, Kristen. 2-watt light bulb. Did any lawyer pop up to help you sue YouTube? No. No one offered Mad Max. I mean, I'm one of probably a couple 100,000 people that happened to. I have no reason to sue them now. The harm has been done. It can't be made whole unless they give me $20 million. That's the only way I'd be made whole. Anyway, video cannot be monetized. Oh, Jiminy Cricket. Oh my goodness. Give me a break. Again, music. I played that stuff last night. The music is music that YouTube made available and licensed, and I used it. And I knew it was going to happen, and now they're saying I can't monetize because it's a copyright violation. What a crock! What a crock! YouTube. I didn't find that music on my own. I got it from YouTube's music, and they said it's a license, and I follow the licensing standards. So anyway, I give up. How was the doctor visit? James, it was okay. It wasn't great. We talked about it last night on Night Owls. Yeah, talked about it last night, so you can check that out if you want. Okay. Seattle declared an independent country. Oh my God, Dogzilla's here. Are you deaf? You were here last night. See, this is what leftists do. The Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. What about the word autonomous do you not understand? Okay, let me help you. Autonomous. Autonomous. Having the freedom to govern itself or control its own affairs of a country or region. That's autonomous. When a location declares itself autonomous, it declares its independence. That is an insurrection within the confines of the United States. Stop being a deuce, Dogzilla. Expat family Joubert. See, this is a problem of people not listening. The $500 Starbucks challenge begins on November 5th after Election Day. After Election Day, and runs to December. Did you miss that? People must pay attention. The Starbucks challenge from Arctic doesn't begin, and from Steenkamp doesn't begin until November 5th. I know nothing about Rob Hersoff and stand-up comedian. Are you being funny? The doctor visit was okay, but I talked about it a lot last night. We'd be allowed to make a video again of your lecture. No, Chris, I'm not doing lectures like that. That lecture was a next time I give a guest speaking somewhere, maybe I'll do that. I've done that. I've done that. Broadcast the videos from the Reformation Society. Some of them I don't know if I broadcast the last one, but yeah. That was part of the Great Decisions series. The Ivy League schools have an annual lecture series in which they pick several topics of geopolitical importance or sociological, usually geopolitical importance. And the Ivy League schools like Yale, Harvard, Columbia, Bucknell, they have people who guest lecturers come in and do these things. The Army War College participates in that, even not an Ivy League school. It's a postgraduate school. So one of the topics they had while I was a professor at the Army War College was South Africa's fragile democracy. I'm the Africa guy, the director of African Studies. They asked me to give the lecture, so I did. And that's what you saw. That's what me at the War College. Yep. I've given plenty of other lectures, but none of them are recorded. He mentioned it in one interview. I didn't see that, Kathy. I didn't hear that. I missed that. All right, so I want to thank Food Socks. Food Socks has reached out to one of the refugees, or two refugees, who have been stranded because of the government shutdown, who already were where they're supposed to be for a flight that didn't happen. And so Food Socks is helping out. Also, the person who kindly offered to provide funding, it has not been requested. I've offered also to pay for some of this, but people in desperate situation, running out of cash, needing to feed their family, Food Socks is providing food. So there you go. You're talking about a handful of folks in one neighborhood, not Seattle. So that federal courthouse doesn't sit in the city of Seattle. Oh my gosh. Look who's quibbling now. Look who's quibbling. Tinky Keyser. No, the world doesn't always make sense. It's a crazy world. Ian Moon, what's going on? Charles Van Olsen, Marissa saying hello, hello, hello. By the way, folks, for those who don't know, Charles, so we had the Sunnyside, detective, the Sunnyside detective who uses social media and lies and slanders me, attacked me because I found it shameful that person made a video about Jay Langton's cancer and exploited it, and then insulted my country by saying the grass isn't greener, saying that, you can't get health care over here. Well, that's a lie. That person claimed they got free health care to address their situation, and that's fantastic. And I'm glad that the Sunnyside detective is fine in that she got health care when she needed, and it was free, and she was treated well. But I stand by my statement that South Africa's state-run healthcare is racist and or incompetent, which is what I said in the video, and that second portion was completely ignored. So I turn you to Charles Van Olsen, whose insurance doesn't even cover his care. He doesn't have money to get care for desperately needing medical care. And we're talking tens of thousands of rand. And also to the one I showed you yesterday of the person who was apparently pushed down the stairs in what appears to have been a racial incident. Whether it is or not isn't germane, but the bottom line is they were pushed down the stairs and wound up with a brain bleed and in hospital. And the bill was 220,000 rand, and that person had no money. And so they've raised 80,000 rand already. They've apparently been taken off a ventilator now. I don't know if they're conscious or whatever, but that's another case of South Africa's healthcare system not helping people in the state-run hospital. Plus, I have several people whose parents died in hospital, ignored and neglected by doctors right in their presence. One suffocating to death. The cop said, well, he's just dying. That's not what what a doctor does. A doctor responds. And in the case of 3 South Africans now, in the most recent interviews I've done, all 3 interviews, I didn't even list this came out. Jay Langton developed cervical cancer in South Africa, came here, and a short time after being here was diagnosed with stage 2 cervical cancer, which doesn't develop overnight. So obviously it happened in South Africa, but the crappy healthcare in South Africa, which she didn't have access to, didn't provide for her, despite what the Sunnyside detective says. Then we find out that Kara had emergency surgery in Idaho, and her surgery she got, didn't even know she had the surgery. The surgery was over because she was sedated. She woke up and the doctor's talking to her. She says, so when are we going to do the surgery? He says, it's done. She goes, I'm not in any pain. He goes, well, that's what we like to hear. You're not in any pain. So that's another surgery. And then we just talked to Letitia yesterday in an interview and found out Letitia didn't have the health coverage when she arrived, yet was given care at a free clinic, and it met her needs and given free medication that cost her nothing out of her pocket. Yet the Sunnyside detective, who seems to know everything, is telling everybody that the grass isn't greener, that there's no health care in America. See, these are lies people tell about America. Again, no one goes without medical care in this country. Anyone who needs care can go to an emergency room. Now, that's different than preventative care. That's different than preventive maintenance. That's different than chronic care. If you have an urgent issue, you must be seen in an emergency room at every health facility in this country, every hospital. It's a law in every state and every territory. So people lie. Now, that's not ideal. She's definitely not in South Africa. As health care isn't free. Even government hospitals require some payment. Well, expat family Joubert, I suspect she lied. She is in South Africa. The Sunnyside detective lives in Sunnyside, or at least used to hang out in Sunnyside. The Sunnyside detective is very famous in South Africa and is responsible for destroying Amy's life. Her and her friend in New Zealand destroyed Amy's life, nearly pushed her to, do something about ending her own life. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, that person said that she got free health care. So I'm not going to dispute that. I'll take her to face value, but you're saying that's not possible. And I understand. That makes sense. Don't hear all these lies. Honest to God, all this negativity is from social media, which I don't have. I have one word for, Tembisa Hospital. Well, there you go, Renee. Exactly. All our pigeons effectively have colonial health care. Go ahead. When I was in hospital with my youngest son 18 years ago, there was an old lady across from me. I went for a walk, and when I came back, the old lady died. They forced the poor woman, and she choked. They forced her what? Okay, Mad Max, that sounds interesting. Yeah, Maze is saying, don't lay on the back of buddy. Don't be ashamed to put it out there if you need help, okay? They steal everything, food to linens to beds, yep. Antoinette says, my father's in the hospital. You must see the attitude and egos of the staff. I'm sure. Oops, that's loud. Yep. Starting to implement phase 1 NHI in December this year. Not exactly. I don't know what phase 1 is either. Boston, Chicago with very large crowds. It's a high watermark for democracy. Tunda Batoli. Why is that a high watermark for democracy? What do you mean by that? Please explain your statement, Tunda. What high watermark? I would think that the suppression of free speech, the criminal violation of the First Amendment, which clearly states that Americans have the following rights. And I'll read them directly to you, quote, from the Constitution, so no one can accuse me of misstating what the First Amendment says. The First Amendment to the Constitution says explicitly right here, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, which means that there'll be no state religion. Not that there's separation of state and government, no state religion. Or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people to peacefully assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievance. So, there's a lot in the First Amendment, not the least of which is freedom of speech, freedom of religion. You have the right to worship any way you want. Yet during the lockdown, the Obama regime sent, well, not them, but the Alabama government sent cops out to harass Christians attending a church service at a drive-in movie theater. The priest wasn't even present. He was projected on the screen over the internet. They all sat in their own cars with the windows up, with the speakers in the window, 2 car spots between them. The cops came there and threatened to arrest them all because you can't gather for a religious ceremony. Asinine. Meanwhile, churches and synagogues were closed in New York by order of the criminal mayor of New York. Wasn't that de Blasio then, if I remember correctly? Closed. But mosques remained open in New York City during the lockdown. The Biden regime colluded, cajoled, or coerced tech companies to silence speech, including mine, eliminating my original channel, only to restore it after they got caught 23 months later for speech that the government didn't like. That's a violation of the First Amendment. I would say the high watermark was achieved during the Biden criminal regime. So, Tunda, I would like to understand what you mean, the high watermark. Do you think the people that are protesting today are people who believe in democracy? No. The vast majority of these people want to shut their opponents up and will use violence to do it. That's not democracy. So, Tunda, I look forward to your response. And I see that you haven't responded. Did you just pop on to throw that little fireball out there? Interesting. Red John, thank you for your membership. Lost 4 people in state hospitals, Colonel. First husband after 18 months of marriage, my mom last year, and my in-laws' parents. Okay, and I'm still waiting for Tunda to respond. I'll give Tunda a little bit of time. Tunda Batole. Tunda, where are you from? ICE has an arrest picture of an illegal alien today of someone they arrested at a court after a judge set him free in a 6-year sentence for sexual offense of indecent exposure to children. Yep. Yep. All right, I'm caught up on that chat. Just waiting for Tunda's response. Dan Bailey's in from Wyoming. What's going on, Dan? Do you ever get the feeling that other races are imposing themselves on white society and depriving white people of the Rights Association? No, I don't get that feeling, Buster. I get the feeling that mostly white people are doing that to white people and doing it to everyone else. Yes, the majority of Americans voted for President Trump. You're correct. JJ Kruger, I was a medical technician. What I saw in our hospitals will let your hair stand up. They use consumables 3 or 4 times over just to wipe with an alcohol swab and ready for the next one. I know, it's insane. They probably reuse needles and stuff like that. No wonder HIV is such a problem. Yep, no, yeah, it's sick. And Red John, hoodie should say Utah Mammoth. It does say Mammoth. Oh, Utah man? Oh, I don't know about that. Okay. Dan, what's going on out there in Wyoming? I go to Hootsure to see the liver specialist, and there's a payment every time, cheaper than non-government, but not free. Exactly. Well, the Sunnyside detective claimed that it was free. I mean, maybe I misheard, but I swear that's what she said. But the point she was making is that, you know, it's a shame these people came over here and they can't get medical care. In fact, they do get medical care. 3 of them. Three people. 2 surgeries and another. And we've already seen that. So anyway, well, now that we've described what autonomous means, let's take a look at the protesters around the country. Demonstrators were expected to rally in no more than 2,600 cities and towns for the King's event. Thousands of protesters gathered in cities and towns across the nation on Saturday to condemn a president they view as acting like a king, part of a day-long... Oh, look, it's a New York Times article that only took 1 author, Karina Knoll. Well done, Karina. She doesn't look very German, though. Looks kind of Asian. By noon, a large crowd had flooded Times Square amid a carnival-like atmosphere with colorful signs, "I pledge allegiance to no king." Well, the thing is, these people pledge allegiance to no one. They hate America. No more Trump. Well, too bad for you. Known as No King's Day events are building off a previous demonstration in June. This time, 600 additional protests were scheduled. In Atlanta, thousands arrived downtown parking lot where the mood was mellow. Among them was Catherine Browning, a British national who wore a bright green frog onesie. So Brits coming over here to crap all over us. I can't do that in Britain. I get deported. I really feel I needed to be here today because so many horrible things are happening to so many people. Citing actions by federal immigration agents that are dehumanizing. What are the actions? What are the actions? Miss Browning, what are the actions that are dehumanizing? Arresting pedophiles and deporting them? Arresting criminal alien invaders who violate our sovereignty and remove them from the country? How is that dehumanizing? You're a sick, twisted individual. Go back to Britain. Miss Browning, 55, said she now carries her green card with her and that she hasn't applied for citizenship. Well, good. Don't apply for citizenship and get the fuck out. We don't want you here. You don't like America. Get out. Get out. She said she worries about being separated from her husband and son who are American. Why? Have you committed a crime? Going to a demonstration is not a crime. You have a right to do that. You have constitutionally protected rights because we've granted you a green card and permanent residency here. So you have the same protections we guarantee to Americans. You're not even American. And this is how you piss on us and you spit in our face? Get out. Get out, Miss Browning. In Madison County, Kentucky, where President Trump has handily won the past 3 general elections, protesters lined the sidewalk outside the local courthouse. Organizers say the crowds are fueled by President Trump's actions in recent months, including his role in government shutdown. The president has no role in government shutdown. The president has no choice. It's the law. The president can't operate the government without money. Congress must approve a bill. The president didn't stop the bill. The Democrats have stopped the bill 12 times now. President Trump has no role in shutdown. What are they protesting? It's like protesting the health care. Nancy Pelosi said, sign the bill, then read it. Pass the bill, then we'll read it. Well, the bill included a sunset clause. And that sunset clause was 30 November this year, or 30 September, or 1 December, 31 December. It was this year. The Democrat House, the Democrat Senate, the demon rat president, Barack Hussein Obama, lied to America with the Unaffordable Care Act and put a sunset clause, pushing it down the road, knowing that it would be a problem for someone else. If the Democrats are in charge, they'd simply renew it and bury us in debt and bankrupt the country. But since they're not, they're going to blame Republicans. So it's a win-win for them, they think. So they're protesting stuff that Trump has nothing to do with. The pressure he's placed on the Justice Department to prosecute political enemies. No, the pressure he's put on prosecuting criminals. The fact that Hillary Clinton's not in prison is a miracle. The woman is dirty as it gets. She violated the Espionage Act over and over and over again. She could be in prison for centuries if she had been prosecuted. Immigration raids are necessary when criminals invade your country. Nigeria is kicking out illegals. South Africa is kicking out illegals. UK is kicking out illegals. Now Germany's even trying to kick out illegals. We're not allowed to do it? Pshaw. Federal troops in cities. The federal troops are in cities because the cities have lost control of the safety and citizens' lives are in jeopardy. Therefore, federal troops have gone. But they're not federal troops. They're National Guard. They're federalized, but they're state troops. The only example of federal troops has been in Los Angeles protecting a federal courthouse. And it was 200 Marines from Miramar. Okay? And the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill. So you don't like the One Big Beautiful Bill. Why? I think there's going to be stronger push than the last one, said Heather Dunn, a progressive group that has helped organize the event. I'm seeing more of an emphasis on the understanding that this is not just a sprint where a mass mobilization there when goes home and Trump's agenda is defeated. We are seeing the difference in the understanding of the general public. This is a marathon. What I'm seeing is America-hating scumbags. We're rising up again this time, nonviolently raising our voices to declare no kings, Robert De Niro said. De Niro is the guy who threatened to punch Donald Trump. He threatened violence against the President of the United States and was not arrested. Of course, it's because it's hyperbole. He's a wuss. De Niro is a wuss. He's not a real man. He's an octogenarian wussy. A fake Hollywood actor who brings shame to himself. Yep. Anyway, so we'll see. BBC covers this. A planned protest against President Trump has begun in New York City. Thousands have already packed Times Square. Okay, I don't know what time this was taken, but they made this sound like it was huge. That's Times Square. That's not big. Have you been to Times Square? I've been to Times Square when cars can't drive down the road at night, and the entire square is full of people. Everywhere, people. That's maybe 6,000 people there, maybe 10,000. That's it. In New York City, a city of 9 million. That's your big protest? Now, to be fair, that may have been at a point in time early this morning when the crowd hadn't gathered. Unlike how they attacked Trump's rally when he got inaugurated, and they said he lied about his inauguration, I'm not going to make a big deal. If you're worried about our country, if you aren't worried, you aren't paying attention. Well, notice who's protesting. This is a perfect microcosm of what's going on. Check it out. These are the people protesting. You see this? And this is what you'll see in most of them. Angry, unattractive, elderly Tonnies and beta boys. That's what you see there. And guess what? Do you notice one thing common about every one of these people? One thing they have in common. One thing they have in common. Anybody know? They're not all women. There's a couple dudes there. But what do they have in common? What do they have in common? Anybody? What do those people have in common? You are right, Mike B. They're all white. They're all white. Old white people. Exactly, Dan Bailey. Old, useless, lazy, fucktwit white people. Yeah, and the other people there are illegals. Old, stupid, obese, ugly, nasty, America-hating white people. Does that make me a racist? I said bad things about white people. I must be a racist. They're all white. Now, that isn't the case everywhere. I'm just making a point, okay? So, oh my goodness. No kings in America. Now, see, this is different. This one's okay. This one I don't have a problem with, okay? They've painted the American flag upside down, but they didn't write on the American flag. So that I don't have a problem with. But people take the American flag and actually writing on it, no, that's disgraceful. Anyway. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, this is huge. Hang on a second here. This is pretty cool. guys ready for this? Check this out. Now this is deserved. Okay, you ready for this? This is cool news. This is some good news. All right, check this out. David Attenborough becomes the oldest daytime Emmy winner. Sir David Attenborough has broken the record for the oldest winner of the Daytime Emmy Award for his work in the documentary Secret Lives of Orangutans. The 99-year-old came out top in the Outstanding Daytime Personality non-daily category with the Netflix film, which follows a group of apes living in the jungles of Sumatra. Also coming away with 2 other awards. Sir David beat the previously held record by Dick Van Dyke, who was 98 when he won the Guest Performer in a Daytime Drama Series back in 2024. Wow. The 52nd annual Daytime Emmys was held on Friday in Pasadena, but nobody knew. Who knew the Emmys were being held? He's 8 months from his 100th birthday, was not in attendance. Well, Dick Van Dyke is just 2 months away from his 100th birthday. Secret Lives of Orangutans won Outstanding Music Direction and Composition, Outstanding Directing Team for a Single Camera Daytime. Writer, broadcaster, naturalist Sir David's career spans more than 70 years, during which his voice has become synonymous with natural history programs both in the UK and across the English-speaking world. His award-winning natural history programs, including Life on Earth, The Private Life of Plants, and The Blue Planet. More than 40 animals and plant species have also been named after him. Earlier this year, he released a cinema-length film, Ocean, which he described as one of the most important projects of his career and spoke of his belief it could play a decisive role in saving biodiversity. Wow. Now, it's awesome for David Attenborough. Impressive. It's great to see. But I'm not going to diminish his award, but I am going to say that they make up categories just to give awards. I mean, the best left-handed untrained chimpanzee with daylight lighting, not using a mobile device. The winners in this category are. Yep. So I'm not trying to throw shade on him, but the Emmys, they just make up categories. The best supporting actress who's not transgender in a daytime soap opera held on Wednesdays in the month of November. And the winner in this category is... Old people are awesome, says Marissa. Yeah. Oh, Ann says, I didn't know what the going rate for. But they don't pay all those people, Ann. A lot of those people are they're really hurt. They're upset. And they're welcome to protest. They're welcome to protest. As long as they don't break the law. If they have a permit, they don't obstruct traffic, they don't endanger the public, they adhere to the rule of law. And I would ask they be respectful, but that's too much to ask. But the other stuff, fine. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, David Attenborough is amazing. Yep, amazing stuff. Yep. So pretty cool. He has some very good documentaries. Vernon said about the protesters, at least they're wearing signs. Many of them are wearing signs, which is good. That's what they need to be doing, wearing signs. Oops, there's a gnat in here. Don't need that. So coming up in a little over half an hour on Rugby Ascendant, I'll have the Stormers. I'm going to check something to see if something important happened here. Hang on. All right, folks. BENA is not a freedom, it's a dependency. That's true. Alan says USA is here to help. Are we? I think we are, but I can't guarantee that. All right, so yeah, everybody, the Hendo keeps putting that Bushwar thing up tomorrow. I got to prep for that, and I haven't had time, so a lot of work to do. Great respect for a flag. I do too, Alan. Everyone's flag, even an enemy's flag. People carry that, and they wear a uniform to defend that sort of thing. So fireworks started early. Okay, all right, Katie, how's it going? Thanks for sharing that. Going strong in Durban, the fireworks have begun, says Charles. Okay, well, that's what people are saying. You're going to see a lot of that across KZN, but not exclusively there. What did May say? Never deface a flag. Well, I agree with that. Oh boy. So anyway, no, they're welcome to their No Kings protest. I mean, you know, that's their constitutionally protected right. That's why I served in uniform for 36 years. Yep. What's an Army thing, Alan? Oh, have respect for the flag. No, I don't think it's certainly an Army thing, but it's not an Army thing, so to speak. It's a patriotism thing. People love their country. Yeah, and look, I've always loved my country. I've been ashamed of it at times, but I've always loved my country. No question about me loving my country. I've always loved my country. We have 329 people watching the program right now, 416 likes. Thank you for that. And a little bit of super chat revenue came in earlier. 3 new members. I think there was 1 new member, maybe 2, and a renewal. So thank you for that, guys. I know, Philip, your military is just kind of it's an embarrassment. So whose voice helps you sleep? My voice helps you sleep, Phoenix? That's not encouraging. Or is that good? I don't know. Or are you talking about David Attenborough? Okay. We were brought up to respect the flag and treat a certain way at school. Already we did flag raising every morning. Yeah, exactly, Sumeri. And that's gone here in this country. That used to be the way it was here. Crystal will try to listen to the live, okay? I got to make sure that I sent him, if I've got, I thought I sent him, hang on a second. Where's okay. I'm looking to make sure I've got the link sent to him already. Come on. Today, tomorrow. It's not there. I'll be damned. Huh. Okay. So I don't even have that. Better send that now. So tomorrow, the 19th at 10 a.m. Okay. Save. There we go. Okay. Now I'll send him a link. Copy invitation. I'm glad that, actually I need to open up WhatsApp. It's not open over here. I'm glad you guys are talking about that because, okay. I guess I never sent it to him. I'll be darned. There it is now. Okay. All right. So he's got the link now. That's cool. Forgot to do that. Cheers, guys. See you at the rugby. Okay, Johan, we'll be on the rugby here shortly. Okay. Time to wrap up here, folks. There's a specified time allocated for fireworks. It used to be much later. For about 15 minutes is all you get. That's crazy. Our government, that's over-regulation. Our government sometimes don't even know which way is up. Yeah, you're right about that. You're right about that. Okay. Oh, you're talking about David Attenborough. You know, Phoenix, that's what I figured. Well, his voice will put you to sleep. I've listened to him many times to fall asleep. But he does great documentaries. And he's 99. I knew he's old, but I didn't know he's 99. That's pretty crazy. Hey, Utopi, how's it going? Utopi, I think I'm still having that problem. I have to go back and follow your advice to reinstall those drivers in the BIOS because it's still happening occasionally that I get logged out of everything. It's a pain in the ass. All right. New South African flag looks like a deck chair cover. All right, guys. Stormers coming up at the bottom of the next hour, and that's a little bit early before the game, so we'll tune in for that. And looking forward to it. Hopefully the Stormers can roll big over Zebra Parma and keep getting that point differential going up. All right. Thanks for being here, folks. See you. Thanks. Hit the like button if you don't mind, and we'll catch you preferably. Did I even set this to go there? Let me take a look. I don't think I set this one because I was in the other account. Let me take a look real quick before you all disappear on me. And customization. Redirect. I don't think I did it. No, I didn't do it. So I've got to look it up here. Come on. Rugby Ascendant. There it is. Zebra, Stormers. So now you don't even have to go find it if you don't want to. You can just hang out here. It'll take you there automatically. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you, Erica, Ann, Hendo, everybody else. Cheers, and we'll see you hopefully on Rugby Ascendant shortly. Bye-bye.